This unit introduces the types of knowledge and skill that the project manager must have to manage successfully. The PMBOK guide is the primary source of the standard that is being tested in the PMP certification exam and is a primary required knowledge for the project manager. It describes how to manage the project using the PMI developed standards, which are now an ANSI standard. Standards generally implement what are considered to be the best practices in a field. This statement from the guide describes the purpose of the guide as documenting good practices. The expected result is an increased chance of success in managing projects if they are managed using these best practices. Notice, though, that there is no absolute prescription that the guide must be followed at all times. It is the responsibility of the project management team to decide how rigorous to be in applying these practices. So the guide documents the core skills related to project management, but there are other kinds of skills that are required in managing others and doing work. The PMP test also examines whether the candidate is familiar with these other skills and knows how to apply them. So the scope of knowledge and skill is broader than just what is documented in the PMBOK guide. Another of the challenges for the PMP candidate is to learn the PMI terminology for things in project management so that you recognize PMI's terms. There is a glossary included in the guide which lists and defines many of the terms. You should learn all of the terms in the glossary. We will also talk about other terms over the extent of the course which you must learn. PMI periodically conducts surveys of practicing project managers to study the role of the project manager, assuring a current understanding of the tasks the manager performs and what knowledge and skills are required. The results of these studies help drive the design of the PMP certification exam's contents as the exam is altered and expanded to test for the presence of the required knowledge and skills. While the test does not require you to know the detail of the study, like task names, knowledge and skill lists, and so on, the study can help you to understand what it is the manager is doing in the role. The role delineation study is seen as the validator of the exam content. The PMP test covers topics in addition to the content of the PMBOK guide. We will cover knowledge and skills that extend beyond the guide in separate units of the course. These are the additional areas of knowledge and skill that you may expect to see on the test, regardless of whether they are completely defined in the guide. This diagram shows the various overlapping skill sets that the project manager must have to manage projects. The certification exam will address all of these areas. We will deal with each area in turn. We will begin with ethics and professional conduct. Next, we then move on to application area knowledge, standards, and regulations. From there, we will move into subsequent modules of the course, moving clockwise around the diagram. Interpersonal skills will be discussed in a number of modules, as it is one of the most complex areas to be covered. Cross-cutting knowledge and skills are a special category because they may be applied in multiple areas of project management. The cross-cutting knowledge and skills arise in multiple domains of project management. This is one category of skills that you must learn for the test which is not covered in the guide. In addition to the discussions in this course, you may obtain further information using the e-reads and references available on the PMI website. This slide lists half of the cross-cutting knowledge and skills required for the project manager. Many of these are management techniques you may have learned in training classes about management in other contexts than just project management. They are also useful in general management, managing personnel, information management, and so on. These are the remainder of the 20 cross-cutting knowledge and skills topics. We will be discussing these skills in the other modules in the course where we are applying them. The next topic will be ethics and professional conduct.